Hello and welcome to this episode of Altitude, the show for you, about you, and sharing career talks with real people, real talk, real situations. We're hoping to have a great show for you lined up today so you can hear about many different types of careers. So thank you very much for joining us. And with me today, I have Dr. Caruso, who works at 3M. How are you doing today?
I do, good. How are you?
Fantastic. So, welcome to Altitude.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, as you can tell, I'm very excited to have you on today. You know, it's very rare that a technologist, puts things into perspective like, oh, I'm talking to a scientist. So this is a very special day. I think you're our first pure scientist.
Awesome. Well, I'm very honored.
Yes. So tell me, Dr. Caruso, tell me a little bit about what you do today.
Sure. So I work at 3M, headquartered here in St. Paul,
Okay.
Minnesota. I work in the Industrial Adhesives and Tapes division, so that's the largest division at 3M, and I'm in the laboratory, so that means I'm doing product development, making new sticky stuff, so new adhesives.
How can you beat Post-it notes? So I mean, or masking tape.
Well,
You
it
can't.
depends on what you want to stick together.
Ah.
So Post-its and tape are good if you don't want to have too high of adhesion, but if you're sticking like planes and cars together, we make adhesives that do that also, but they have to be a lot stronger.
And on behalf of all the passengers, we thank you for that very much, especially when we start going to the moon, right?
Yes.
All
exactly.
right. So did you always want to be a scientist, or how did you, tell me a little bit about, what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Sure. I think the earliest recollection I have of wanting to be something was an astronaut. I was really interested in space when I attended space camp after 5th grade.
Okay.
And got a scholarship to go there through a Women Aviators Club. So that helped me just get a flavor for what astronauts get to do. So we did a couple simulated missions, one where we got to be on a part of a space shuttle doing a mock experiment. So I was one of the scientists doing an experiment there. And then the second mission, I got to be on mission control. So I got to see how that operated and how they can support people when they're hundreds of thousands of miles away in space.
So when you had that vision of doing that, is that how you started your education pathway? Tell us a little bit about how you got to where you're at with your education, maybe.
Yeah, I think a little bit. I was always strong in math and science, but I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. So I really enjoyed my high school chemistry class. I was in the International Baccalaureate program, so I took chemistry for 3 years and really enjoyed that. Helped me prepare for college better, and my strengths were really in chemistry, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. So when I went to college, I was majoring in chemistry right away, but again, I had no idea where it would take me. But the skills, I think that chemistry or any of the sciences or engineering majors, they prepare you for anything.
Sure. Sure, that's amazing. And now you have a flourishing career at 3M. But before we get back to work, let's talk a little bit about what you like to do for fun.
Sure. I like to run. I have run a lot of half marathons, a couple full marathons, but I like the half marathon distance. And play softball, and I enjoy singing and acting as well.
So do you have one of the 13.1 stickers on the bumper of your car?
I don't.
See, we have to get you one.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. When's your birthday? We'll make sure to get you a 13.1 sticker.
April 3rd.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's roll back to some of your involvement with not only just your career, but maybe what your company does and how you engage the community.
Yeah, I love working for 3M. It's an excellent company for, I think, just a well-rounded scientist. There's really challenging problems to solve, which is why I became a scientist, because we like solving problems. So just looking at technology development, really longer-term projects, and then now I work on shorter-term projects with the electronics industry. So they're making new products every year, and we want to be spec'd into those products, and so we have to move really, really fast at the speed of the customer. So what I really enjoy about 3M in my position now is that close interaction with the customer that I have, so I know what they're looking for, and I can go back into the lab and design my product to meet what they're asking for. And just having that dialogue is really energizing for me to make something that other people can use and appreciate.
Yeah, so did you, when you started at 3M, then just kind of now I'm going in reverse order, did you, when you first got your first engagement with 3M, what level did you start at?
I started as a product development engineer.
Apologize if I didn't catch that the first time.
And that was in the corporate research materials laboratory.
Okay.
So right out of graduate school, I started there, kind of entry level with my PhD, and was able to work on longer term technology development programs. So things that are about 3 to 5 years away from being a commercialized product.
Sure. And one of the things that we do here is we also try to give advice to young persons that are interested in careers and education such as yours.
Sure.
Do you have any advice for, well, we probably want to start earlier because we don't want to wait till being a senior or junior, but let's say, a high school person. What would you tell a high school person that they should do to prepare for, to reach the type of role that you have at 3M?
Yeah, I would say grades and GPA are kind of the first thing that we look at. I also help support the research and development internship program at 3M. So I'm looking at a lot of resumes and trying to help college students get an internship at 3M. And
Sure.
so one thing we look at is GPA. So you have to stick to the books. You
Yep.
have to keep going to school, keep staying in class,
Yeah.
and learning as much as you can, just challenging yourself.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of number one.
Okay.
But then also just thinking broadly on when I go to college, what do I want to pursue? What do I think I want to study? And it can always change when you get there. You could change majors. But I think anything within the science and engineering area is really well-rounded to kind of help you go wherever you want to go. And that's one of the reasons I pursued graduate school, is because I wanted to have higher education, because it opens more doors for you.
And, it sounds very rigorous, and I know that it is, but you also have a lot of fun too, right?
do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I can tell by your excitement behind it that you have a lot of fun. Do you, for a young person too in high school, when they go into college, do you have, or from your employment perspective, do they look at other community service type engagements
Absolutely.
or other things that they do? Can you share a
Yes,
little bit
absolutely.
about that?
So I've really prided myself in making sure I am well-rounded, that I'm not just book smart or don't dedicate myself to only that in my life. I like having and spending time doing other things. So spending time with your family is really important. Having some sort of hobby, some sort of athletic sport. So 3M is really big on teamwork. I think, as many scientific careers are, it's really hard to develop something by yourself. So
Sure.
collaboration and working with other people, especially with different disciplines, is extremely important. So you can see that early on in sports and athletics. 'Cause you're on a team, you're working together towards a goal. And I see that all the time in my projects. You can't commercialize anything by yourself. So athletics teach youngsters
Oh,
at
yeah.
a really young age how to work together as a team to accomplish a goal, and I think that's extremely important. Then the other side of the brain is the music, exploring that type of thing. So I've tried to do all of those things, and as well as community service, so serving the community through various organizations.
Sure. And even as an adult, member of a sorority, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
So
yes.
Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
I
So,
am, yes.
yeah.
I'm currently the Minnesota State Director, so
Fantastic.
very involved in helping mentor the undergraduates at the University of Minnesota, and then we're hoping to charter new chapters in the state as
Beautiful.
well.
All right. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for making those adhesives good for our airline flight and space flight. And, maybe next time you still be able to pursue that astronaut, and, we'll be talking to you before you head to Mars
I
or
hope
Jupiter.
so. That's my plan.
So thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your
very
time,
much.
Dr. Caruso.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
All right.
Welcome back. And with me, I have DJ Mickey Breeze. How you doing today, DJ Mickey
Pretty
Breeze?
good, Mr. Wolf. I'm doing pretty good.
Breeze, as you've come to know. You're going to be like Prince and pretty soon just have one name. We can't call you DJ Mickey. You're going to be Breeze. Actually, that's kind of tight. That's kind of tight.
It's good, but I've been building this brand for a minute. I've thought about logo changes and name changes and all that type of stuff, but I can't get anybody to know me by anything else.
Right. And that's okay, man. You know, you got your own thing. I think the last time you were here visiting with us, you had just turned 18.
Yep.
And you had told me on the slide that, hey, I'm going to South by Southwest. I want to play in front of Google. So let's catch up the audience. What have you done in the past short bit since you last interviewed here?
That's a long list.
Okay, pick one thing. Pick one thing.
Been to South by Southwest. I recently released my album mid-February. Played in front of Google. I got accepted to play at Soundset this year.
Fantastic.
On the Last of the Record Buyers stage. And I'm also working with the Children's Hospital in Minneapolis, their Star Studios and everything, to be on a TV program and be a part of their team and do some musical therapy and whatnot with kids.
Oh, that's beautiful. And that's one of the reasons why we like having you here. You represent the arts very well. You're very technical in the studio, and you also give back to the community, and we couldn't ask for anything more than that.
Most definitely.
One of the key things, during one of the blizzards that we've had here in Minnesota, we did come into the studio, and actually I learned a big lesson about on-set and off-set video production.
Yes.
About internet bandwidth and all that. So I tried to, to flex my technical prowess, but you've created a lot of music then, and you have a new album out, correct?
Yes, indeed.
Tell us a little bit about your album.
So the album title is called TYFE. It stands for Thank You for Everything. And basically it's an 8-song and skit compilation of a lot of music based on basically my daily life or the trials and tribulations that I go through, either relating to my career or just, what I deal with on a daily basis. There's a song on there, the title track of it is dedicated to my mom. There's songs about, for lack of a better phrase, financial instability on there, and about insomnia, and just about my processes and how I deal with my anxieties when it's related to my career and my music, and how I get along with people or how I get along in the world.
And I listened to your whole album, and knowing you and then listening to your album, I think it's important for young people to continue to listen to real music and listen to the lyrics. And I think there's so many young people out there as well as adults. Let's not
Right.
get that twisted, that people of all ages and levels deal with a lot of issues. But
Of course.
I can appreciate, the one thing that I did appreciate was I was raised by my grandmother, so I appreciate what you put in TYFE out, on behalf of your mom, Momager. So big shout out. Shout out to Momager.
Of course.
So tell me a little bit about what's next on the horizon. Are you going into the studio? You had mentioned doing some classes.
Yeah, so right now I have, and also since our last talk, I've finished my last 2 or other 2 courses at Slam Academy.
Okay.
And just got my certificate. I'm finishing out a 5th course as well. But primarily as far as what's next, I'm excited to play at Soundset on May 26th on the Last of the Record Buyers stage. This Children's Hospital project is really opening up for me recently. They have a program with Star Studios at the hospital called Backstage Pass, basically where they go around to different communities or work with different musicians and everything, and go to their studios or go to their performances and make music with the artists. And they just recently came through to my home studio, The Bunker, and I was able to make a song with their host.
Okay.
In addition to just working on a couple of other programs with them in the future. But so far, I'm looking on getting my merchandise and stuff back up. I recently got physical copies of my album for $10 if you ever want to.
A little shameless plug
Shameless
for a
promotion.
CD. Yes,
Shameless
of course.
plug.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do.
But Yeah, as far as future endeavors and everything, I'm kind of just working on it little by little.
All right. Well, I'm waiting for you to, co-host one of those classes with Timberland and all that kind of stuff. But I thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule, dropping into the SPNN studios here in St. Paul, and appreciate you, young man.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Keep up the good work.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome back. And with me, I have Samuel Ndely. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. So, Sam, I've known you for a very long time, if you don't mind me calling you Sam.
That's fine.
All right. Well, it's an honor to have you on the show. I remember you as a young man, met you when you were in college, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And as an older person, it's just incredible to see a young man that has a vision, that went and pursued that vision and turned it from maybe a dream to reality, as well as, some things we fall into, right? But I'm very proud of you and very proud to have you on the show and all the things that you do in the community. So once I get that out on the table, we'll make sure that our youth and the adults that are going to see this understand where you're coming from. So we're going to talk a little bit about education, career, and lifestyle. So Sam, tell me a little bit about what you do today and the businesses that you.
So during the day, I work at MEDA as a business consultant, and MEDA is the Metropolitan Economic Development Association. And there we work specifically with minority entrepreneurs to help them grow their businesses. And we do that in a couple of different ways. So as a business consultant, I provide technical assistance, which means I'm working with entrepreneurs on business growth planning, helping create different revenue streams, helping them find access to market opportunities, marketing as well too, a whole bunch of different resources, getting their businesses established, creating a foundation. And then as an organization, we also provide financial solutions as well too. So kind of like a bank, we provide loans. We provide traditional loans, and we also provide equity funding as well too, for more tech-based businesses. And then we have educational programs through our MEDA Mini MBA program, and then we also have our youth program through Junior Achievement.
Fantastic. Wow, that's incredible. And you're also an entrepreneur, so you talked about
Yeah.
So that's the 8 to 5. What about
Right.
the 5 to 8?
Yeah, so the 5 to 8. So really, what I've been doing for the last 3 years is I co-founded an organization called Gravity. And with Gravity, similar to MEDA, we're focusing on people of color who are trying to get into entrepreneurship and tech. So really, it's the whole tech startup space. And the tech community here is a growing community. The startup community, that is. But one of the things that I realized going into it is that it was really white, and we wasn't really a lot of spaces where people of color could go, feel comfortable, and actually find other people that looked like them that were in that space and had either similar interests in trying to start a business or an app or a startup. And just also talk about some of the challenges that they face. So we created that space just as a meetup. That's where it started out as, and then we did monthly events, then turned into doing things like fireside chats, panel discussions. We held a summit in 2017, and that actually sparked a lot of people getting invested in. We had a VC come out here, and they talked about what do they look for in businesses, and they ended up investing in one of the people that was at our summit. So we've been doing a lot of really great things in the community, getting some great feedback from people, and we've been going strong in 2019. We just had an event last night, and it was a fireside chat with Ndely from Habitaware. She's a local entrepreneur here. She actually won our Meet $1 Million Challenge and the Minnesota Cup last year. So she's been doing really great, and just trying to support businesses like hers and entrepreneurs like herself and her husband, Samir, and giving them a platform to talk about the work that they're doing and how they got to where they're at.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a little bit about what we do here for the youth. Try to have them relate to professionals like you that get into the game, so to speak.
Yeah, it's all about representation, right? Like how do you can't. It's hard to do something when you can't necessarily see yourself in that space because you haven't seen anybody that looks like you doing it. So if you have that example, it's a lot easier to achieve that goal. So
did you always? I mean, you talked about personal identity and other related issues to that, but when you were a high school student, and I mean, we got to roll back just a tiny bit for you.
Right. I'm getting up there, so.
Yeah. So what led you to this, or what do you think, how did you prepare to be in the position that you're at? Like, what kind of education do you need? Did you need a formal education? Could you have done it on your own? If you could share your education background a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm from Minnesota, born and raised, went to high school at Champ Park High School. I guess really from when I was in high school, and I think just growing up in general, my parents are also really active in the Cameroonian community here. My family's from Cameroon, both my parents are. So I'm a first generation American here. And so I just saw my parents do a lot in the community and always be really involved. They've run a couple organizations, community-based organizations within the Cameroonian community, and was in leadership. So I saw my dad, step up when he needed to. So I guess it's always been around me. And then when I was in high school, I actually started a student organization. I was in Black Achievers through YMCA. So I was just around a lot of support that really helped kind of me see myself in college. And then when I got to college, it was like, I was super involved really early. I was part of the BSU, which is the
BSU Black Student
Union.
At the U of M, right?
At the U of M,
Okay.
yeah. And then joining Phi Beta Sigma in 2009, leadership in that. So I guess I've always been really involved in, anything that allowed me to work with people. And I think that's really what it comes down to, is just my ability to connect with people and work with people, work in teams, and then really wanted to help see people be successful and help them succeed. So now that I'm a business consultant, I work with people and helping them achieve their goals with their businesses. And it's been a great experience. I've been doing it for 2 years now. I just celebrated my second year early April, and it's been good to really reflect and look back and see how much I've been able to do in that time.
Sure. So everything that you said, still, when you're in high school, you can actually get involved in clubs and communities.
Exactly.
Were there any, you did mention a couple, but are there any specific clubs or anything in high school maybe that would better prepare a student to head on that trajectory?
Yeah, so it's one that I actually didn't do, but DECA is like one for entrepreneurship and business that I know that a lot of my friends did, and I didn't do it, but I kind of regret not doing it when I got to college. Like, I could have really benefited from that, but stuff like that, like, don't be afraid to join those organizations, because they do prepare you for what you can experience in college, and just giving you some basic level skills to be able to handle just actual real life situations. And when you graduate from high school and go to college, just be as involved as you can be, because part of college isn't just about what your major is. It's about who you know and the experiences that you have through the relationships that you build, and you're in a point in your life where you're learning a lot about yourself. So you learn a lot about yourself when you're put in stressful situations, and being a part of student organizations, there's definitely a lot of stressful situations, right? So, but at the end of the day, it's worth it, and it pays off, and it really helped me get prepared for what I do now.
Sure, fantastic. And I think the last thing we wanted to touch on real briefly, what do you do for fun? Do you have any other outside of let's see, you got the 8 to 5, then the 5 to 8, then you have the other 5 to 8.
Right.
So what do you do to have fun?
We just had DJ Mickey Breeze up here, and I love music, so I like listening to music.
Okay.
I make beats on the side a little bit on Garage.
Oh, you do,
Band.
huh?
Yeah, for fun. It's nothing serious.
Yeah.
I got a couple things on SoundCloud, but nothing too serious.
SoundCloud, look me up.
Right.
Do you have a name on SoundCloud?
Just Mr. Fantastic 4. That's my handle on it.
Fantastic with the PH.
With the PH, yeah.
Fantastic. We'll have to make sure to insert that into the credits. So. Yeah, no, that is fantastic.
Yeah. So I love music. I love just spending time with friends and family, and I've been traveling a lot more recently, and it's been good. So.
Okay. Well, we appreciate having you on Altitude, and we thank you for your time.
Yeah.
I know you're very busy, and we appreciate everything that you do for the community, Sam.
Thank you. Same to you.
Take care.
All
right.
Yep.
Summertime is coming up. It's a springtime here in Minnesota, and we want to make sure that the parents, our youth, our students, high school students in particular, take opportunities within the community to go to summer camps and workshops. It's very important that in your off time that you continue to build and experience technology, engineering, and a whole spectrum of other technical activities. So one particular program that we have is the IT Exploration Camp, sponsored in part by Minnesota State and many other caring organizations. You can actually go to the website 2019camp.minnesotastempartnership.org. At that camp, if you can code, you'll be advanced into real life, real world computer science scenarios that will help you build and expand on your current knowledge. You have to be able to code in some language, but not a problem. We also have openings for students that have coded in web technologies, HTML, CSS, maybe some JavaScript. And we want to make sure that you have and take advantage of every opportunity. Today's show will provide a link to our camp as well as all of the camps that they have recognized across the Twin Cities. Make sure you take advantage of it. Some of them are free, some of them cost, but at the bottom line, at the end of the day, be sure you ask and inquire whether or not they have scholarships or if there is an opportunity to have you go to your school and have it paid for through your school. So on behalf of the Minnesota STEM Partnership, the IT Exploration Camp, and Minnesota State, we appreciate you sticking with your grades, getting into technology and engineering, science, and mathematics. Keep your grades up and keep doing a great job. Thank you for watching this episode of Altitude.